Hi, and welcome to a sneak peek into a core piece of functionality that's going to be released as part of our Ripehouse version 3 beta launch. This is going to be coming in the next couple of days, but I thought I might release this small snippet of insight into a core piece of functionality as a bit of a taster and to get you excited about what's going to be coming in the next few days. Okay, so in this video, we're going to be quickly covering the new Ripehouse version 3 property and suburb search tools. We've spent a lot of time on these tools and listened to what you've been requesting as far as making it easier for you to find specific properties that match your strategy and your criteria, and suburbs, any suburb across Australia that would match or be best suited to your strategy and your buying criteria. So hold tight, I'll get started and quickly go through and demonstrate this new functionality that's going to be coming as part of Ripehouse version 3. Okay, what you might notice here is the new Click to Search button, which appears in the top navigation menu of all Ripehouse pages. Once we click on this, a pop-up will open, which will allow us to really deep dive into the property and suburb searches. You can see all property information is on the left and all suburb information is on the right. So let's start with properties over here on the left. We can see we can search for an individual property that is an individual street address from any property across Australia. Not just properties that are currently for sale or have previously been sold, but any single property address across Australia. We can load that page and that will load a page specifically for that property with key investment analysis and criteria, appraisal information, and obviously click through so you can deep link into the suburb analysis page and put that property's location in context. This is what I'm really excited about. We've made things easy for you by drilling down, enabling you to search for properties that match or are suited to an individual strategy. We've grouped strategies into the three core strategies of capital gains, flipping, and cash flow. You can see over here with Suburb, you can also search by strategy. I'll talk more on that later, but this is what we've been working really hard on, making it easier for you to find properties that match your strategy. I might just do a little introduction to what these strategies mean and what constitutes a suburb or a property being relevant to a strategy. I will be having a masterclass video specifically for these strategies and how you can leverage them. That's coming soon. But in the meantime, a capital gain strategy means that the suburb sales volume is increasing, a recent trend of increasing, rental volume is increasing, a positive infrastructure environment, money being spent, more than average money being spent on infrastructure, shops, schools, transport, even private spending, mines, shopping centres, that type of thing. Also, it looks for positive government environment. Is government generally proactive? Are they entrepreneurial in spirit? It also looks at a positive demand-supply scenario. So it's looking at days on market. Are days on market decreasing from a high? And there's a special combination of these things to determine if a suburb is relevant for capital gains. Flipping, it might be quite obvious, but a flipping strategy generally means it's a shorter term strategy. You're buying a house, you're renovating it for short-term gain and then selling it. For this strategy to be relevant, you obviously need to have a large differential between unrenovated and renovated properties. So the larger that differential, the higher that suburb or property will rank. And then you also need properties that are relevant for renovation. So Ripehouse prefers to see 2 or 3 bedroom houses for renovation as opposed to a 1 bedroom unit in a tightly held strata complex, which might require a lot of checks and balances and process to be able to renovate. A cash flow strategy, so it requires high yields and trending upwards over the last 3 months, and it also requires low vacancy rates trending downwards. So those things, all ducks in a row, will constitute a really good cash flow strategy for the suburb or property. So what we're doing when we're looking for properties, we can select. We want properties in a highly ranked capital gains suburb. We might want distressed sales. So what we're looking for there is words used by the agent to describe the property that would demonstrate a distressed state. So must sell, urgent, vendor discount, all these type of things. We can see the property has been decreased over its in value in asking price over its sales campaign. and other cues that would demonstrate that the property is in a distressed state. So you can search and only find properties that are in a distressed state there. We can search for just houses, just units. We can search for specific number of bedrooms, a price range for the property, and we can search just in a particular state. So let's just drill down with the price range a little bit. So then we can click on Find Properties. It will match all properties that match those criteria across every property that's currently for sale in Australia. So let's get going. Okay, so that property search has now been performed. We can see we've been returned a list of results here. Each of these elements is a property that matches those criteria. We can see we've got some really key and important information for these properties. Some of these information you would have struggled to find or not seen before for individual properties. It really helps you analyse a property, determine if it's going to be a good investment before doing the deep drill down into putting that suburb under the microscope and seeing if that property really is a good fit. So we can see here for capital gains is what we've nominated as our important strategy. There's a strategy match for that property. What that means is the property is located in a street or area in that suburb that matches that strategy. And also the property itself matches the strategy. So if it was a flipping strategy, for example, the property must be a unit. If it's a capital gain strategy, for example, the sales volume must be increasing on a suburb level, but the sales volume must be increasing on a street level or area level as well to have that matching effect all the way down from suburb to property. We can see that the property type, this is a 3-bedroom house, which is in demand. It's the most common type and most in-demand property type in that suburb, which is very important. Days on market for this property is 4. It's just hit the market. The condition of the property is average, and we're 14% certain of that. So not very certain, but we can say that based on, we can see here some of these are 33% certain, etc. Based on how the agent, the selling agent has described the property, we can assess the condition of the property. Is it in renovated, unrenovated, original condition, brand new off the plan? Those type of things we can assess that, and we can determine whether it's in average, below average, or above average condition. That's displayed there, and that's important to your strategy. Is it the sale in a distressed state? Yes, this property is. It's either been discounted or based on the wording used by the agent, we've determined it's distressed. The estimated yield for this property in this suburb is 2.6%, and the asking price is $479,000 at the moment. Underneath, we've got some summary information which is really important, stuff like suburb average public housing, average number of renters, average rent and income, closest shops, schools and transport. Really key information that you will need to make your purchasing decision. You can click on any of these properties and link through to the suburb analysis page to complete your research. Okay, so that was a property search. Now let's check out a suburb search. We'll click on the familiar click to search button at the top here to bring up the search panel. On here on the right we can do our individual suburb searches. So you can type in here any suburb in Australia and it will find it, and we can then proceed to our suburb analysis page that way. Or using our specific drill downs for suburb searches, we can search by strategy, crime level, something you haven't seen somewhere else I'm sure. We've assessed every suburb across Australia for its level of crime relative to its neighbours and ranked it. So you can basically drill down to, I want a capital gains relevant, the highest ranked suburbs in Australia for capital gains strategies with an average to high or even low crime level with a specific price range as a suburb median in specific states across Australia. So these are really powerful metrics that you can use to filter the suburbs that are returned to you. So let's click on our old favourite Queensland and let's go and find some suburbs. So we've been returned the top 10 results only for capital gains rated suburbs in Queensland with low crime or very low crime and any price range. We can see here the top rated suburb is in the 83rd percentile across Australia in Queensland for capital gains, and this suburb number 1, Rose Bay, is in Queensland near Townsville by the looks of this and has 220 dwellings. So just put this in context, 220 dwellings is quite a small number for a suburb, so these numbers might be, due to the small sample size, be slightly skewed. So it might be safer to start concentrating on suburbs with a few more dwellings like Kumbaha, 4,229 dwellings here. So this is starting to get into the core investment class suburbs here, where sample size allows the yield and those type of figures to be accurate. So this suburb has a 73 percentile capital gain score, 0% for flipping. That's probably because the most in-demand property type is not matched to a flipping strategy. 64% capital gain strategy. The median price in the suburb is $390,000. Yield is 5.4%. Very low crime rate. Two-bedroom house is most in demand, and 84 days is the average days on market. So really great snapshot of really important information for you to make your investment decisions. You can click on this suburb here and drill down into the main suburb analysis page, which will really, supercharge your search for properties. But this is a great snapshot and first step in your due diligence and suburb search. Underneath that, we've got some really important information again. Public housing, 1% in this suburb. Local government area, 2%. Percent rental properties, 33%. Average rent and income in the suburb, vacancy rank, and how this suburb ranks percentile-wise against other suburbs in Australia. Okay, so this is a really quick snapshot of the suburbs that have been returned. You can click on any of these to view more details or more information. Today, this video has been a really quick insight into the property and suburb search tools as part of Ripehouse version 3. We've been working really hard on these features, and we're sure they're going to be very beneficial and very useful to you in searching for properties in suburbs using Ripehouse. So good luck with your search.